And we're live.
Hey everybody, Peter Gantner here with True Badger. Today I have an extremely special guest, not only because he's intelligent and knows a lot about trading. He's my best friend, partner in business, incredible person. I met Doug Kyle about, has it been about 8 years now, buddy?
About 8 years, man.
In quite a bit of time. And we found out that we had a lot in common and that we had the same passions as far as helping people and wanting to develop wealth for other people, and decided to form, I think, one of the best business partnerships on the planet. So kind of like maybe an Abbott and Costello type thing going on there, or,
Batman and Robin.
We'll just have to figure out who's who, right?
No, we'll flip a coin. We can flip a True Badger coin.
There you go. We can flip a True Badger coin. So today, guys, we're going to cover a little bit about True Badger for the new people that are on here that don't know what True Badger token is. And then we are going to go ahead and I'm going to have Doug come on, talk from his perspective of True Badger. But he is a phenomenal trader in not just cryptocurrency, but across the board. Has built a incredible piece of software called Digibot. We're partners on that as well. And he is going to do a little bit of training on trading. And of course, why not use True Badger as the example of what it is? It only makes sense, right, to use it as the example. Digibot is a auto trading bot for cryptocurrencies. It was built very special, not a traditional bot that's going to make you a bunch of money one day and lose it all for you the next. It's definitely got its own special features. I'm going to leave that for Doug to explain to you. So real quick, guys, I just want to jump into True Badger, what we're doing and all that stuff. I don't have YouTube up right now. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over to Doug. Doug's going to introduce himself, kind of give you his perspective. I'm going to get YouTube up on my phone so then we can see any questions that are in the chat. Because what we'll do is I'm going to explain True Badger a little bit. Doug's going to do a training, and then we're going to open it up for about 3 to maybe 6, 10 questions on True Badger, or you can ask some questions on Digibot, and I'm going to have that up. One of the reasons why we're doing this, guys, is Doug's also a partner in True Badger. We're partners in Digibot, but we are building a tool together that is going to be absolutely fantastic. So it will be a True Badger partnered with Digibot, and we'll market and promote this tool. And of course, building value in that tool builds value in what? True Badger. All right, Doug, take it over real quick, and I'm going to get it on YouTube so I can see the questions.
Sure, absolutely, guys. Well, for you guys that don't know Digibot, I'll give you guys a little bit of background in Digibot while Peter brings this up. Digibot is a completely AI automated trading system that is specifically designed to trade around volume. And when I get into teaching a little bit today, we're going to go into the volume, look at the volume in True Badger, and really kind of lay out some expectations about what True Badger is doing and maybe what we can see and where it's going. But the reason that Digibot is so successful is because we actually track where the larger traders or larger buyers and sellers are actually transacting. And when it comes to trading, I don't think there's anything that's more real than when somebody puts their money on the table and is willing to buy something at a price, right? That becomes very real. Now, there's all kinds of indicators in the market, whether it's true moving averages, stochastics, Fibonacci's, Bollinger Bands, whatever it is. Most, if not all of those, are a form of a lagging indicator. I don't believe in using lagging indicators because they're just basically interpreting what has already happened in the market. What I love doing is actually tracking what volume is done and how that volume repeats in the market. But there's something very different about trading this market. When we talk about a new coin like True Badger, when we begin to look at a new coin, how do we trade that? What are some of those things that are very important? I'm a technical trader, meaning I read the charts, I trade off of volume, But when it comes to this market, also fundamentals play in. We're going to talk about that because I'm going to ask Peter a few questions that he doesn't know I'm going to ask yet. But it's important as a trader to fundamentally understand what the coin is all about, fundamentally understand what makes this coin different. What is different about True Badger over Bonfire or Safe Moon or one of the other coins that are out there? Is it different? Do I believe in the fundamentals of what's going on? Because this is a brand new coin. We'll talk about that a little bit when I get to the charts. But we'll also talk technically about what's going on with the charts and whether it's a new coin or an old coin or Forex or whatever it is that we're trading. Human nature never changes, right? So once we understand technically what we're looking at and we understand human nature, we'll get into that, it becomes very easy to trade. And then the other thing that I want to cover a little bit is making sure whatever you're trading, a new coin like this or a coin like Bitcoin or Quantum or Litecoin, whatever you're trading, make sure you understand what your end goal is. We'll talk a little bit about that too. Back to you, Peter.
All right. So first of all, what is True Badger? So True Badger is a deflationary reflection utility token, which essentially means that we had a max supply that we started with. That max supply was 1 quadrillion tokens. And I know a lot of people think, wow, that's a lot of tokens. Why did you start with so much? It's actually one of the brilliant things of this model that it was taken off by the reflection guys who started it. And then, of course, Safe Moon, who took it a little bit further down the road with the auto LP, being able to support and build up that LP. So 1 quadrillion tokens. We burned the initial ones that should have went to the team. Usually when people start a project like this, they receive tokens for being involved for the part of starting it out. And then, of course, for staying on for a period of time. We took those and burned those. Normally, they're anywhere from 3 to 25%. We had associated 20% for doing that. We took all of those tokens and we burned them, which now has brought the total supply down to 800 trillion tokens. Okay. Of that, we are about to burn. I'm not going to give the number yet, but later on this week, we're going to start doing some burnings. And so the deflationary side is on every single transaction, there's a 10% fee, whether it's a positive or a negative transaction. A positive transaction is taking your BNB and turning it into True Badger. A negative transaction is taking your True Badger and turning it into BNB. So, or a transfer to a wallet, that 10% fee is paid. That fee, and normally when you see a fee, you're like, oh, fees are bad. This is a fee that actually is very powerful, and especially if you put it in the right way, the way that fee gets split up, because every project needs an economic engine to drive it. It needs the funding in order to get the right people in place, to do the right marketing, to put things like that. Instead of raising money from, let's say, investors and bringing in a large amount of money and having them take the majority of it, this is a project that allows the token holders through those swaps, right? Positive, negative swaps, right? That then help fund that movement and go behind it. Again, empowering every single holder of the True Badger token. So the way that 10% fee gets split up is 1% of that goes to burning tokens on a weekly basis. Now, a lot of other projects use auto burn. We understand the power of community. As a matter of fact, I don't know where there's I don't know if there's any other area, especially in business, where community is more important than in the blockchain / cryptocurrency space. It is at the top of the list of the most important. So we will have weekly burn parties so people can attend. We can get together. Of course, they're virtual online, and we'll burn those tokens. So our first week, I'm excited to say, I'm not going to give the number, but we're burning a lot of tokens this coming week in that burn. So that's the deflationary, a set number, and it's decreasing all the time. that should have the effect of increasing the price, because even if the market cap stays consistent, when we burn 5 trillion or more tokens at a time, a trillion, 2 trillion, that is going to what? Increase the price of each individual token, because there's less tokens to make up that market cap. So that's the deflationary. That's 1% of the tokens. Now we also have a reflection. Reflection is cool, just like you look in a mirror and you see yourself. Reflection is keep your tokens in your wallet, and on every single transaction, 3% of that transaction gets split between everybody who's holding the token, the reflection of holding that token. So you don't need to do anything special. It's one of the things that I loved about the model when I saw it. Normally with staking, normally you hold back some tokens. So you put out X amount, you hold some back. If they send their tokens in, you give them more tokens for holding those tokens. With reflection in this model, you put all the tokens out, you deflate the tokens, and then everyone that's holding it gets a portion of that transaction, okay? So they're just gonna show up and it's just gonna keep clicking away. All you gotta do is hold them in your wallet. You don't need to do anything outside of that. Very simple and very easy. 4% of the 10 is going to go into LP. Why is that important? Well, in a traditional token, it is token holders who provide that LP. And when they do that, they've got to use the native token, whatever token they're using, and then the base token, which in our case, being on the Binance Smart Chain, would be BNB. So let's say I'm an individual and I'm just going to provide some liquidity, let's say to bakery. Okay, so it's an exchange. I'm going to put up so much BNB and I'm going to put it so much bakery. Well, what if I need my BNB? I've got to pull my liquidity in order to do that. What if there's a panic? What if there's happens to be something small, like a small hack that doesn't affect the token in a big way, and then all the people that have liquidity go, oh my goodness, and they pull their liquidity because they don't want to lose their BNB or have permanent loss. Well, one of the things that I loved about this token is every time 4% of that fee is going towards building that LP, and it's permanently locked to it, so it can't be used for anything else. So there's no one to pull it away. So it gives you a stronger floor. It's not individuals making a decision. It is locked in and is there. So these are the things, guys, that I really loved about this model once I got it. And you may be on here going, oh no, that's not these models. I was exactly the same way when I heard about the other tokens doing this. My first reaction was, that's ridiculous. That won't work. Until I looked at the science, the thought process of humans, as Doug mentioned, the economics of a token and what it takes to drive and make that token work. I was actually sold completely on this. And I really do want to thank the SafeMoon guys for pioneering this beyond what the Reflection guys did, and then SafeMoon, and then moving this thing forward. It is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so we've got the 3 that is going towards the Reflection. We've got the 4 for the LP. We've got 1 for burn. The last 2 are probably the most important, and that is 1% of that fee is being paid into a marketing fund, which our marketing fund now has over 6 figures in it. It is growing all the time on every transaction, which is going to give us the ability to share this token, this movement that we're moving forward. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the movement here in a minute, because we are more than a token, okay? And definitely more than a meme token, even though we've got the greatest mascot in the world. I mean, come on, Truman, who else has a badger as their mascot? No one else, just us, right? All right. So we've got the marketing fund. After 6 months, that will move into what's called an innovation fund, which currently we have a 1%. Extremely important. See, we want to build real value behind the True Badger token. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. There's a lot of tokens out there that have value because of the speculation, the trading that takes place on them every single day. Outside of that, it's I can buy the token today and maybe sell it tomorrow and make 8 or 12 or 15 or 20%, or I can buy it, hold on to it for 6 months and make a 3 or 5x or 6x. All those are in the plans for the True Badger token, right? Driving that value. but we want that value to be based on the fact that we're providing products to people that they're paying for, that is then generating revenue, more like a traditional business. Amazon has its value. Why? Because it delivers products to people's houses every single day. It is a bridge between sellers and between buyers, and they keep a percentage of that transaction. Exactly what we're doing in the innovation fund gives us the resources to develop multiple projects that then will develop that revenue, which is for the full benefit of the token holders. As we start these projects, I want to get this very clear. Every one of those projects are for the full benefit of a token holder. So if you own or hold True Badger tokens, when the success of those projects are going to help generate value for you. Okay, so that's the tokenomics of it. One of the other unique features that we have with it is we're building a governance model in. I see a lot of tokens out there in this space that say that they're community owned and community driven. You don't understand that if you do not have a way for the community not just to express themselves, not just to say, hey, we like this or don't like this, and then me being the CEO take that and interpret that and then make a decision on it. Meaning wholly having the community members being able to say, I like that, yes, or I don't like that, no. Voting power in the direction of the company, of the token, of this entire organization. It's extremely important, I believe, for the long term of it. Remember, community is one of the top, it's at the top of the list. And so you've got to be able to not only just have them get behind the token, but to be involved in that decision making. So that is the True Badger token right there, guys. It is very unique in the way we've positioned ourselves in the marketplace. There's one final thing that this token has, and that is the team that's behind it. First of all, we're fully doxed, right? You know who I am, right? I'm Peter Gantner, right? There's no hiding that. I'm not hiding behind a computer screen or behind a computer. And I understand why some people do it. I'm not saying that all those situations are bad. And then also experience of the team. I myself have built brands, been in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal. We've had products. If you ever played with Crazy Bones, we were in Happy Meals, other projects and stuff that we've worked on. We've been building over the last 5 years an innovative business model, helping entrepreneurs. So we've worked with slews of entrepreneurs, starting companies. We understand the startup process. We understand how to do it lean, and we understand how to create success there. Doug has built up and sold businesses in the millions of dollars. Of course, a very successful trader in the Forex space. So we come from success, and it's not just the two of us. There's an entire team of over 15 people that are currently involved here, closer to probably over 20, and that does not include the programmers. This is, graphics people. It is social media people. We were just interviewing an 18-year-old kid that is looking at possibly coming on board and running our TikTok. You have a full team of people behind this token pushing True Badger. And then as we develop these other projects, there will be teams associated with that will have the responsibility to create success and create value for True Badger. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to turn it over to Doug. You guys now understand what True Badger is if you're new to this call, if you were just invited to it. So again, one of the projects, we'll be starting to talk more about it probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, is a piece of software that we're developing with Digibot to trade in a very unique way, a very unique situation. And we'll get you more details on that. So Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you, buddy. I'm going to look through the chat, see if we're starting to get some questions, and see who's on with us. All right.
Well, talking about that new software, just let you know, I and the lead programmer started mapping that out today, and I'm very, very excited about it. Guys, I want to start off with the fundamentals. Okay, there's two sides of trading: fundamentals and technicals. What is fundamentals? Fundamentals is like the news or information about a business or about a product that you want to potentially invest in or get involved in, right? Fundamentals in this space, especially with a new coin, are extremely important as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to get into the technicals because that's what I am, a technical trader. But I want to dive into the fundamentals a little bit. And Peter, I was going to ask Peter questions, but Peter just went through a bunch of the fundamentals. But Peter, I want to hone in.
I'm here, bud.
Just want to hone in on those fundamentals just a little bit. Because guys, when a new token or a new coin launches, I think there's certain things fundamentally that are super important. One, what is the token about? What is it trying to do? What is the utility of the token? Who's the team behind it? And is it on track, or is it have a potential to be on track to do some of the things that it wants to do? So when we talk about a reflection token, Peter, you were just going through this. And I think most of the reflection tokens, DeFi reflection tokens, they all have burning, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if they're a reflection token, they're all paying out some type of reflection, correct?
Yes.
Beyond those two things, I think a lot of them stop there. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah. The majority of people focus on those two areas.
So for me, as an investor in a coin, guys, for me, I need to understand how is this coin going to move forward? It's hit a value, or it's going to take off, or what's it going to do? How is that going to happen? And Peter just talked about a couple of things that I want to hone in on fundamentally, right? That I believe make this token True Badger different, and it may make another token that you're looking at in the future different. I'm not talking just about True Badger here. I'm really talking about analyzing any token you're going to get involved in from a fundamental perspective to start with. Understand how is it going to move forward and what's going to make it work. So Peter, you said a couple of things, and there may have been more, right? But a couple of things you said. One is there's a marketing fund being set aside to drive the token. Now, as an investor in the token, which I am, okay, and Peter is, and so is a lot of other people that we know, right? But as an investor in the token, do I believe having a marketing fund may be important? Peter, what do you think?
Absolutely. It's absolutely necessary. There's been a lot of projects that thought that if you simply deflated the token and you did reflection, that was enough to drive it. And they are talking about doing other things, starting exchanges, starting things. The problem is you need the resources, you need the assets to be able to pull that off. And so it's sitting down and really working out a plan and saying, hey, let's just do these two things. What does it take to move it? This is fundamentals of understanding business. That if you understand business, you know you're going to need a marketing fund. In order to do that, you must have an ongoing revenue source in order to make that happen. And saying, hey, we've got some tokens. I've seen a few projects that said, look, we're going to put 5% of the tokens away or 2% for marketing. What happens if your token doesn't take off and go to $100 million? 5% of the tokens, if your market cap is $800,000, is $40,000. What type of marketing are you going to do with that? You need ongoing revenue in order to drive it. Why do we enter a marketing fund after 6 months? Because we would have launched about 3 or 4 projects. Every one of those projects will have marketing funds. They will take over the marketing. It is not necessary at that point for us to directly market True Badger. The project that we're working on with Digi will have its own marketing fund. It will say Digi True Badger, right? And so True Badger will get the exposure through all that marketing. So actually, once we get that fund moves over to innovation, the marketing will increase because we'll have all of these other projects marketing the relationship between True Badger and that project.
Yeah. So you kind of led into that, the second area that I'm really concerned about as a potential trader, as a potential investor. in anything that I'm looking at, guys. And again, I'm not just talking about True Badger, because I'm really trying to educate everybody what's important to look for when looking at a coin from a fundamental standpoint. Well, one was marketing. I really have to believe that whatever coin I'm going to get involved with has the ability to push the coin out beyond that initial surge. Super important, right? The second thing that is super critical, and maybe I don't think it's more critical, but it's definitely equally as critical as the first, which to me was marketing. The second is the innovation, or what is going
Oh,
to.
I got to give you my opinion there, buddy. If I could have taken the whole 10% fee and put it towards innovation, I would have done it. But
Oh,
I
I
don't
know.
think people would have understood it, because what we can develop behind the token, the value that it creates for society, is so important. Now, we know with what we're doing, because we know how to run companies, we've built them before, the 1% is plenty. I don't want you guys to get it wrong. Oh my goodness, they should have had 10 and they only have one.
Yeah.
But that's how important this innovation is.
Oh, I agree. But I think without the marketing, it's hard to tell the world about the innovation, right? So the chicken and the egg deal, right? So, but innovation, guys, when we look at especially a meme coin or a coin like a DeFi reflection coin, what is the ongoing long-term viability of the coin, and what gives it that stability to move forward into a lifetime coin? What is it? It's going to be the innovation. It's going to be the things that they do with the coin, or other coins that they bring out, or things that they bring out to support the coin, like what I'm working on the trading side. Because just going through this with my traders that are in Digibot doing True Badger, I went, oh my goodness, there's so much here that we can do as a trader to really help this area, right? But there's other things that I know Peter's thinking about and that we're working on, that without that fund, how else are we going to do it? We're going to go back and ask all of our people for more money? What are we going to do? How are we going to get that money to create value? So every time we market with True Badger, and again, this could be another coin too, not isolating True Badger here, but anytime a coin has the ability to market and has the ability to innovate, right, then you have a potential as an investor or a trader to have something that has that potential to have longevity. I'm no longer just counting on a social media or a community to support it until I get there, but I'm counting on the actual utility itself. I'm really counting on that innovation to make a difference. And that difference can become an X factor extreme, right? Because if any coin hits the ball on innovation in this space, it becomes a viable, reliable coin to me for long-term tradability. It's going to create long-term trades. It's going to create, for all of the people that are in like the initial launch of a coin like this, it's going to create an intense X factor. In fact, to my traders on Digibot, I call this, for a lot of us who weren't around when Bitcoin started, right? I call this our Bitcoin experience, right? Because we're able to get in still at such a low level. And any new coin like this, if you understand the fundamentals and they're solid, getting in early, super positive, right? So Peter, you got anything to add to that fundamentally?
I think if you would have gotten into Bitcoin when it had a $13 million market cap, you'd be pretty excited today, especially if you hodled, right?
Oh,
especially if it had reflection on it. Oh my goodness gracious.
oh, that would have been insane.
With some reflection on it.
Oh, I got chills. I just got chills.
So no, I agree with you 100%. And that is what we're about, creating value. Look, communities that come together for a common purpose, a very narrow, singular purpose, can achieve incredible things. And
Yeah.
what is that purpose? For us as a team, it's about creating value to society. So they'll exchange us with some form of commerce. So then we can use that to create value behind the True Badger token. It is simple. For our community, it's getting as many True Badger holders as possible. Why? The bigger the pie, the more each person gets of it. This is not a limited pie. It's not like, you're going to, Thanksgiving dinner and grandma makes the most phenomenal pie in the world. She's made 2 of them and there's 18 people at the party, right? And there's only 16 slices of pie. Somebody's going to get left out. This is an ongoing, growing pie. The more holders we bring in, the bigger opportunities we can do, the more power we have as a community, because the more people we have to create commerce with the projects that we're developing. So this is a phenomenal thing. Share it with your friends. Let's get it out there. Let's get to 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. There's over 7 billion people on the planet. Imagine getting 1% of those people to participate in the True Badger system, and then having all of those people to leverage and benefit together, working together for that common purpose, that common goal of building wealth for each other and moving things from there. So Doug, we are at about 32 minutes right now, buddy. So what I really want to do is I'm going to turn it over to you to go through some trading stuff on, and of course, I know it's tough, but we'll have to use True Badger as our example for the trading stuff. But if you could just show that. One of the things I do want to say, this is not just from me. I have gotten involved in a lot of projects in the startups. My favorite tokens, guys, are startup tokens. Doug does a lot of stuff with some of the more established ones, the long-term ones. I'm the risk taker, right? So, and I love low cap. I mean, you got a token that's under $1 million or under $10 million. That's my jam, right? I'm going to look at it. I'm going to buy them. I have not seen another token, and this is because of what we built prior to this, the last 5 years, the relationships, the stuff that we've built in the community. I have not seen another token react in this way. And so you look at that green right there, that straight up, that was the launch. And this has been the couple days that we've been there, which means this to me, at least. And these are my personal, thoughts on this. So we're right now in that $13-14 million range. I see us when we go to 40-50 million. Imagine then going sideways for a little while and then pop to that next few hundred million and then sideways instead of these giant swings in the marketplace. And we're going to continue to expand the community with the same thought process that we've built what we have right now, which means there is the possibility of us duplicating this. Imagine having a token that rises, stabilizes, rises, stabilizes, rises, stabilizes, all the way to at least my first initial goal, which is a $50 billion market cap. I'm going to turn it over to you, Doug.
Okay. So guys, I talked about human nature always being the same, no matter what you're trading. And I see it over and over and over again, because at some point, the market has gone up enough that people get greedy and they want to take profit out, or it starts dropping down enough and people get fearful and they start selling off. Those two things are very common no matter what we trade. And how do we see that? I'm gonna slide this to the side, and I'm gonna explain basically volume barriers. We can call them supply and demand barriers. Supply would be, when there's a lot of supply in the market and they're selling. Demand would be a buy barrier, where there's a lot of demand coming in the market trying to drive it up. Once we understand the volume and those two barriers, then trading becomes just understanding where we're at in relationship to where traders wanted to trade in the past. And more specifically, even when we do Digibot, I'm tracking a very specific type of volume, which I can't do here on KuCoin, but I can still track the volume, and the volume is very important. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean. When we hit the top here, right, we can see some people started to sell off. And what I'm really looking for when I do this, I know that we went down, and that's an obvious here, right? But what I'm trying to understand is at what point did going down become self-evident, right? Where was that supply that really came in? And if we get back to that point, do I think that the same thing may happen? Well, yes, it's human nature, right? Supply came in, and it's a human nature to try to repeat that. But if I look at the red down here, this is volume. This is an increase in sell volume over the prior. The next candle, and these are 5-minute candles, and I'm using 5-minute. I normally trade on a 1-hour candle, but because of the limited data on a new coin, I'm using a 5-minute. I could use a 10 or 15 if I wanted, but I'm looking at this. The next buy volume came in was weaker than this, and the next sell volume was greater than that buy volume. So this zone here, this is a supply zone as far as the way I define a supply zone, okay? Oh, come on, no, don't do that. All right, I wanna get this, here we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a little box here, and I'm gonna highlight this candle because this is really the one that started it. And I'm gonna put a box around it just like that. And I'm gonna lock it in, okay? And I'm gonna make sure I'm at the top and bottom of it, okay? Right there's the top wick. And if you don't understand candles and how candles work, I did a whole training on the anatomy of candles. You can go back and watch that with my staff. You can look us up on Digibot, on YouTube and stuff, and get that. But I'm gonna slide this across, okay? And I'm gonna keep sliding it across till I can. And you're going to see how often that candle or that area became important. Well, the first time we came up, we tested the bottom of that candle. We bounced off of it. We came into the bottom of the candle again and bounced off of it, okay? We came into the bottom of it again and we bounced off of it. Do I believe that that sell volume was significant? Yes, I do, okay? And as I come across, you'll see that I consistently come into that candle volume and I hold the top of the candle now. Look at that, right to the very top of that candle I hold, okay? And come back down. So what am I looking for as a trader? Well, there's a couple of things. One, I want to close above this area with a nice solid candle. And that will signify from an emotional or trader standpoint, the psychology of a trader, that they're going to feel, oh, we finally got enough volume above this area in the market that we're going to take off. Very significant. What is the other thing that I look for? Okay. Well, we got this initial down pull, right? Or pullback, we call it. And we can see that we pulled back to the only hesitation area that we had going up. Was that important? You bet it was, right? Everybody emotionally can see this initial barrier, right? So we have a pullback to that. Now within this range, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to map out this range as a trader, and I'm going to map out this first pullback of this retest as a trader, right? I want to know where my barriers are. So when I look at this, I'm going to slide this over so I can see the volume here come in, okay? Now, if I look at this, right, I can see that this all held. Okay, that's, again, self-evident. I'm not trying to prove this held. All I'm trying to do is find out, is there a specific volume candle within here that I really need to target for future events that may come back to this area. Now, we haven't come back to this area, but I still, if we come back to this area, I need to know where that volume is. I can see we came in on this candle with volume, okay? Right here, I'll put a line. I'm gonna put a line on the next real increase. This had an increase here with no down. Even this red here had more buy volume in it. It's called divergent, right? So we have a lot of buy volume here, but I'm really looking at the ones that tested the bottom. Here's the candle that took off, and it is also coming off at the bottom. So I really like these two. So if for any reason the market came back down to this area in the future, right? This would be the first area I would target. Now I would dial down potentially to a lower time frame to really analyze the volume inside this candle, see if there's a specific range that I could really target within this candle. But I would do that if the market started coming back down to here, and we have not. So my next thing that I need to target or understand is this first pullback and this retest. Where in this pullback at this bottom, anywhere in here, where do I see significant volume potentially coming in, right? And I'm looking not when it gets up here, I'm really looking at the test down here. Where do I see that? And I'm looking at a nice increase in volume here. I had an increase actually in a red candle, right? Again, divergent. And I had an increase in this one. Actually, I really like that one. I haven't mapped this out yet. I'm mapping it out with you guys for the first time. I really like that increase. Slightly heavy down volume. And this, again, this becomes kind of significant to me, right? Had a nice increase in buy volume, had a nice sell volume, slightly less, retested that bottom, but couldn't go any deeper. Followed by volume testing up, followed by another volume here. Nice high volume. I actually like this one too. I'm going to map out again. So these two are about the same. So I'll go ahead and use this one here. So let me move this line so I can find the top and bottom of that. I'm going to delete it. Okay. Now I'm going to put a box on this candle here. Okay. Right there. In fact, I could actually take it to that swing low right here. I could just look at this whole range because this failed. This came in as support. So I could really look at that volume. The increases were all through here. So I like this whole area, right? Because of the volume makeup or profile. So I'm going to slide this across and let's see if this became important. Okay, I don't know. We'll find out together. Well, we came almost right to the bottom of it, right? There it held. And so this area became support. So here we can actually map out a brand new coin, the same way I would map out Bitcoin, map out Litecoin, or any of the other major coins. I map it out exactly the same way. My system does more volume profiling than I can do here, but I can still see the elements or mechanics that I need to see to make a decision on where to buy. But here's the deeper question, okay? I got involved, potentially. Here's the deepest question of all, okay? And this is where you have to ask yourself as a trader, what is my goal, right? Is my goal to put $100 in, 500, 1,000, 10,000, whatever I put in, right? Is it to make this initial move and I'm done? Or is it, does this coin, again, back to fundamentals, does this coin fundamentally have the potential to drive higher, to make a huge difference in my life as a trader? Now, I'm specifically asking, what is my goal? Well, if this is my Bitcoin experience that I can recreate, right? I haven't built a time machine yet, so I can't go back and buy Bitcoin when it had a $13 million market cap, or I can't go back to when it was 4 cents, right? But I can, if I have a coin that I believe in, potentially have even maybe a greater experience than some of the Bitcoin people did. But here's the thing that doesn't make sense to me as a trader, okay? I understand selling a little bit of my coins at a high, a little bit, to recoup my initial purchase of the coins potentially. That's a legitimate model, right? Not to sell off. I know some people that sold off, and I have to ask, okay, what was your goal, right? And I'm looking at the selling that's going on here, and I'm asking, is the goal really to make 1 or 2% or 5% or 10% when you're in potentially a higher risk game? Trading new coins that are coming out, including True Badger, is a higher risk game, right? Because it's not a proven yet. Even though you can look fundamentally at all the things that they're doing to make it a proven, it still has to prove itself. So when I get involved in a coin like this, my goal is to get in when it's 6 zeros, 7 zeros, 8 or 9 zeros, right? I'm looking at the number of zeros past the penny, right? If I can get in there and I can hold on to the coin and let it try to go to 5 zeros or 6 zeros or 4 zeros or 3 zeros, right? Then my $100 or my $500 that I risked, or even my 10 grand that I risked, depending on your trade sizes, right, becomes a multi-million-dollar potential experience. So that's the Bitcoin experience that I'm talking about. So, I understand taking a little bits out to cover the cost of the initial coins, but goal is to make a significant amount of money, not a little bit. Because I didn't get in this game or games like this to make 500 or 1,000 bucks or even 10 grand or even 100 grand, guys. I didn't do it for $100,000. I personally, my goal on any coin like this that I believe in the fundamentals is to have potentially a multi-million-dollar experience. And by hodling the coin, the more people that hodl, the more people we bring in to drive and break barriers, the greater experience that everybody's going to have in that coin, right? So always understand, what is it that you want to achieve? Understand the barriers. If you're going to take a little bit of profit, take it at the barriers. Understand those barriers. And when it pulls back, be ready to get in again. All of the Digibot traders, we're all standing by, guaranteed. We're all ready to get in again if it got here. I got in here. I got in down here. I got in on every barrier. In fact, I have additional money set aside to accumulate this coin because I want to accumulate those pullbacks because I believe in the fundamentals. So technically, very, very easy to begin to map out the volume. This is what I teach. But from a coin tradability and what your end goal is, once you define that end goal, if it is a Bitcoin experience, then taking little bits out don't make sense. Take a little bit out, make your profit, but keep getting in and out. That's not what this experience is about, guys. So, this experience is about driving.
Buddy, can you give them, because we're at about 50 minutes right now, we're going to open up for about 10 minutes of questions. Can you tell them, because you've done a lot of free training that you have, can you tell them where they can go for people that want to learn how to trade? By the way, and I saw people put it in the chat, Digibot is an auto trading bot. You don't need to learn how to do this. The tool we're going to build is going to be a significant tool. But if you do want to learn more about trading, there are people that charge thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But because we like to build value in the lives of other people, hoping that at some point that value reciprocates in some form or fashion, Doug has done a considerable amount of free training on. Can you tell them where to find you, buddy?
Yeah, you could go to digibot.com, guys, and reach out to the staff. We've got training inside Digi and outside Digi on Digibot's YouTube channel. You can get a lot of our training. I did a whole series from the anatomy to the candlestick all the way through volume. 6-week course that's all out there for you guys that you can learn. You learn how to trade, Peter, and you got a tool for the rest of your life. And that's what I believe.
Absolutely. So guys, we're going to open up for some questions. If anybody has any, and it can be a trading question. It can be on True Badger. We're going to do some unique stuff. I know a lot of AMAs are strictly on that project. We're going to try to bring in special guests. We are not just about True Badger. We're about building the cryptoverse, bringing people on board to look. Right now, a small percentage of the population own, understand, and are a part of the cryptocurrency movement that's taking place, which to me is simply a representation of the value that the blockchain brings to society. We need to grow that. If you want to see not just this token, but any of your tokens go through the roof and continue to grow, then we need to all make an effort to try and get 1 or 2 new people a week or a month into the crypto side of it. And the way to do that is to bring them to quality projects they have the potential to make profits in, right? To be inspired by. And that will keep them, not only get them to the crypto space, but keep them in the crypto space and keep moving forward. So if we have any questions, my chat doesn't seem to be coming up so I can see it. Corey, can you put something in the chat so I can see if it's coming up on my phone? I've just got a blank screen right now. It's not showing me the conversations. They were there and then they've disappeared.
Well, guys, while Peter does that, we teach on Wednesday nights, Saturday morning in Digi. And I invite anybody to join us. You can go to digibot.com. It's all free and learn all about trading. We'll be talking tonight specifically about True Badger with my trading community, and we'll be going into some detail about that if you want to join us.
All right, I got it back up. So guys, if there's any questions, if you can pop those in the chat, that would be great. Yes, and if you can hit the thumbs up button, that would be awesome as well. So it can be a Digibot question, or it can be a True Badger question. It can be a trading question. We've got about 7 minutes left for us to answer any questions if you guys have them. We are excited to any question, tough ones, easy ones, we'll take them all.
So while they bring one up, buddy, I'll ask the first question. Why did you ever get involved in this?
Once we started, so 5-6 years ago, I decided I wanted to improve the home-based business industry by creating a new model where more people could win. I saw a lot of people that were not winning in that space, had been exposed a little bit to crypto. And a matter of fact, that's why I'm so passionate about making sure we bring people to great projects. I got into crypto prior to that with a company that ended up getting in trouble and going out of business, and it kept me away from the crypto space. So I decided to dive in I think it was about 2015, okay, a little bit before we got started on our journey, and I got burned. I put a few $1,000s in. The company shut down. It was doing hashlets, a company called Gaw Miner, and I got burned, and that kept me away from it for a few years. I got back involved in 2018 with all that stuff. That's actually when we decided to start building Digibot. And the reason why is I've realized that one of the pathways towards solving a lot of the issues. So in America alone, and this is a global phenomena, over 35 million people over the age of 55 have less than $25,000 in retirement savings. That's insane, guys. That means Social Security, maybe a small pension. It's going to be pretty tough. So when I found the blockchain, and at first I heard of crypto and I thought, that's probably funny money, right? You write a program and it's created. I didn't understand the value that was behind it. Once I understood that value, then I began to dig into what the blockchain provides. And that's where that's the technology that's behind it that will go into every area of our lives, right? Medical, insurance, finance, every area of our life will be affected by the blockchain and how we move forward. And so then I said, wow, this is the biggest opportunity that has taken place in our lifetimes. Bigger than the internet, right? This is Internet 3.0, people have said, but this is much bigger. The internet brought modern society together, right? The first world together. The blockchain is going to bring that third world people, 2 billion people over the next 5 to 10 years will go from the shadows, the economic shadows, to into the full range, which is going to expand our economy exponentially, right? You're not just talking about the value they bring. You're talking about them adding and making that pie that much bigger. And so I thought, well, this is the answer to what we've been looking for in order to help hopefully millions of those people not have to. I wish I could help them all, but they have to take action. They have to get involved. They have to be a part of it. But I know with this model and with what we're doing, especially with True Badger, we'll be able to help millions of people not have to suffer through what's going to happen when they go to retire and they don't have the funds to do it. Because normally, look, you're 55, saying, hey, I want to retire. I have less than 25,000. I'm going to start putting $100 a week away. That's not enough. Go look at the numbers. You have to start putting away like $1,000 a week, but I only make 50,000 a year or 60,000 a year. It's impossible to do. So by leveraging the most powerful economic and value-driven model, which is the blockchain and cryptocurrency, though, by doing that, now you can multiply it. And you don't need $1,000 a week, 10, 20, 30, $50 a week. Put in the right places can then get you the results of what that $1,000 a week and maybe even beyond. Now, how do you do that? You have to connect yourself with people that care as much about you as you care about you. And because they realize that the value that you create can be value that they create. So you've got to tie it together in a community setting that allows you to find the right projects, the right people. They teach you and educate you on how to make the right decisions and be a part of it. And that's why we decided to dive in. It's the reason why we started building DigiBot. It's the reason why we started our tokenomics. It's the reason why we're launching True Badger. It's the reason why True Badger will drive other projects. We can't go, well, let's go analyze everybody else's. No, let's just start 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 of the right projects that have the right dynamics behind them. And then we can say it's a True Badger project. So it's been vetted. It does have the right formula for success. And then that way you can do your own due diligence. Always do your own homework. I don't care what I say. I don't care what Doug says. Anybody, always do your own homework. But if you're going to do homework, do it when you know the base principles of it. And then that homework, you're not going to sit there and go, well, I don't know. You homework 25 projects and none of them worked out. You didn't get comfortable with all of them. So, but if you have some familiarity with it, then it's easier to do. It's why people build brands. If I love a brand and I love the quality of that brand, I'll buy another product. Why? Because I have the trust in that brand. And so that's why we're building this ecosystem, a movement, not just a token, but something that people can believe in and have some familiarity. Then when they do their research, boom, we can move and make things happen.
So we got any other questions? And guys, Peter's always known as his short answers.
Well, it doesn't look like we do. Let me see if they were all flawed. Oh man, a lot of great statements, guys. I don't see any. No, I don't see any questions. So guys, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to be back. I'm going to have Doug on again. We're going to do some just for trading stuff, because we do want to create value outside of even just True Badger and where we're doing. If we can create value in somebody's life, even if they don't buy the True Badger token, we all win, right? Because we move in that direction. Again, this is about it. Look, you guys are essential. We're doing these AMAs. We've got a great token launch. We've got great tokenomics. What we need right now is there's 162 people watching this. We need you guys to share True Badger with your friends, with your family. I'm going to be doing an interview tomorrow with BW. You guys are going to get to know him. Fantastic. It's Brooke. He is unbelievable. He loves this space. Him and his friend AM, man, they are on it and they love what we're doing with this token. We're going to be interviewing him tomorrow, and he's going to tell you from a token holder's perspective of the stuff that he does, why he does it, and why you need to do it as well. If you believe in this token, if you already hold this token, then let's go be proud. Let's share it with as many people as possible. Man, if we're running a contest, if we've got something going, do yourself a favor. Don't do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. You are a token holder. Go like it, comment on it, vote, 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 share with other people, ask friends to do you a favor. If you're a parent like me, I went and told my 3 kids, you guys someday want some inheritance, you better go like that channel. You better go share this with your friends. You better get busy, because at some point they'll own my True Badger tokens. And if they want to get them, there's lots of charities that would take those tokens, right? So I know that for sure. So if they want to be a part of it, they need to get busy and they need to be a part of it. So again, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Doug, for doing that, the training, and for being here with me. You guys see why he's my partner on this stuff. He's got the same thought processes, the same wanting to create value in the lives of other people. That is the entire True Badger team. I'm going to be doing this with some of our other members. In the next few days, we're going to do this with Corey. You guys are going to get to know him. Next week, you're going to get to know the ladies in crypto. We need to rise the percentage of women in crypto. It is very low right now. And we need to increase that. And one of the ways that we're going to do it to increase it is we're going to have an AMA next week. I'm going to be the moderator, but I'm going to have 3 incredible ladies on there that not only are into crypto, they know how to trade. They know a lot of stuff about this. They are part of the True Badger team. And we're going to show we've got a great balanced team here, guys. Thank you for joining us. Doug, thank you, buddy. This is incredible. Thank you.